This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, Ash, and Team Valor. For a moment there is silence, as both Ash and Grace look at Serena, wondering if she will accept her mother's challenge. Though still fired up, the honey-haired girl states that she agrees to the terms, a defiant set to her jaw that tells all assembled she means business. Acknowledging this, Grace leads her daughter along with Ash and Pikachu to the racetrack behind the house, stating they'll battle here. A simple 1v1 should suffice, so Serena should choose her first Pokemon. Instinctively, the young coordinator calls for Eevee to help her out, placing her trust in her starter, though with a tut, Grace calls this a bad choice, since she should know which Pokemon she, Grace, is going to use, so could have had the type advantage if she'd thought ahead. This causes Serena to gulp, as in retrospect her mother is right. Though refusing to falter on her convictions, she declares that she'll still win, not even backing down when Grace brings out her Rhyhorn, who towers over the small normal type. Instead, the young Colossean opens the battle with a call for Tail Whip, which sees Eevee waggle its fluffy tail in an attempt to disarm the rocky Rhino and lower its defenses. From the sidelines, Ash cheers Serena and Eevee on, though it seems it will take more than encouragement to win this fight, as on Grace's command, Rhyhorn barrels forward and strikes Eevee head-on with a takedown that sends the little fox flying backwards. Nonetheless, showing the same resolve as its trainer, Eevee quickly gets back to its feet, and as per Serena's instruction, employs another Tail Whip, still trying to wear down Rhyhorn. Unfortunately, Grace has no intention of showing her daughter any mercy, as she next doors an earthquake, with the ground rock type slamming its two front legs hard into the ground and causing jagged spires of rock to shoot up. A moment later, one such pillar appears directly beneath Eevee's feet. Though refusing to have a repeat of the last move, Serena cleverly has her starter turn its Tail Whip into that flight trick from the Viridian contest, allowing it to avoid the earthquake spike at the last second and touch down safely a few feet away, before resuming its Tail Whip. Confidence growing in the face of this small win, Serena asks her mother what she thinks of that, to which Grace acknowledges that her daughter has learned a lot about battling and how to creatively apply her Pokemon's moves, though that is not what she's concerned about currently, as she already knows Serena is a talented coordinator. This compliment gives the girl pause, though only for a moment, as when Rhyhorn comes in for another takedown, she snaps back to attention, having Eevee use double kick at the last second to spring into the air. There it is able to utilize a third Tail Whip from out of harm's way, though this is not all, as having only used one of the kicks implicit to double kick, the small fox now begins to fall, its foot aimed right at Rhyhorn's head. This is what Serena has been working towards, a super effective momentum powered move against a Pokemon whose defenses have been slashed 3 times. This should be more than enough to finish Rhyhorn off in one hit and secure both the win and her freedom. Voice raised in exultation, Serena then orders her starter to finish this, though to her shock, Grace gives the same command, with Rhyhorn's horn beginning to glow and extend upwards, so that before Eevee can even move, it is skewered on the tip. For a moment, the fluffy fox attempts to fulfill its orders, kicking weakly with its outstretched paw, though due to the sudden growth of the horn, Eevee is still too far away to reach Rhyhorn's rocky hide. Then, after a moment of valiant struggle, the little normal type goes limp, having fallen like countless others to the one-hit KO power of Horn Drill. Silence hangs in the yard, with all eyes once again being on Serena. However, to the surprise of all assembled, she does not cry or run, instead walking slowly forward and pulling Eevee off of Rhyhorn to gently cradle it in her arms. In a small voice meant only for her starter, the young Colossean then thanks it for its efforts, and promises that even if their journey's over, they'll still keep working hard together. From the other side of the field, Grace clears her throat, telling her daughter not to be so hasty, since no one said anything about this marking the end of her journey. Eyes widening in shock, Serena gasped that she thought her mum said she couldn't continue if she lost, though this just earns her a shake of the head and a fond sigh, as the brunette replies that kids never listen to their mothers. She never said anything about winning or losing. She said they'd battle to see if Serena was ready to travel again, and based on the mature and graceful way she handled her loss, it is clear to see that she is. Now at last the tears come, as Serena runs in to hug her mother, with the pair sharing a quiet embrace, as Grace tells her daughter that she never wanted to hold her back, she just had to be sure she had the resilience to handle the hard times without falling to pieces again. Nodding in understanding, Serena promises not to make that mistake again, stating that with her friends, her Pokemon and her mum in her corner, she can take whatever the world throws at her now. This earns her a smile from Grace, who replies that judging from the look in the girl's eyes, she believes it, and is proud of her daughter. From the sidelines, Ash and Pikachu smile as well, glad to have Serena back, though their attention is quickly drawn to a rustle from the bushes behind them. Turning around, the pair see a rather bedraggled-looking Gary as he climbs from the shrubbery and chides Ashy Boy for not coming to the rendezvous spot like he was supposed to. However, at the sight of Serena, all crabbiness promptly leaves the brunette boy, as he calls out to her, declaring that she has nothing to fear since he's come to save her. Looking up at the newcomer, Grace placidly states that he must be Gary. adding that Serena's told her a lot about him. Smirking confidently at this, Gary replies that he trusts it's all been good things, though here Grace does not reply, instead looking back to Serena and then to Ash, telling them to be safe on this next leg of their journey before heading back inside. With this settled, Serena needs only a short time to repack her bag and gather her Pokemon before joining Ash and Gary on the road. Figuring their best course of action is to retrace their steps so they don't get lost on the way back to Lumio City, the boys lead the way, and while the trip is just as long as before, it is far less arduous, as the tension and worry that hung over the duo previously has been replaced with a sense of lightness and joy that makes every step up the winding route feel comparatively easy. Unsurprisingly, Gary attempts to use this time to convince Serena to travel with him when they get back to Kanto, saying it could be like this all the time, though in her polite way, the Closian girl shuts this down, stating that while she's flattered, she thinks she'll stay with Ash and her other companions. Speaking of Ash, Serena implores him to fill her in on everything that's happened since she left, with the boy recounting the events of the last few weeks in great detail, while Gary stays silent, being too heartbroken to even correct his rival this time. However, one activity that does spark his interest just as much as Ash's is looking at all the wild Pokemon along the way. Here at last is Serena's turn to take the lead. As being native to Kalos, she is far more familiar with them than the boys, and so points out a few that they had failed to notice on the way here due to not knowing where to look. This does cause the trio to go slightly off course, as Ash eagerly requests that Serena show them even more awesome Pokemon, and happy to see him excited, she acquiesces, leading the group away from Santaloon City and instead up a mountain path where a group of super cute Pokemon are said to live. Unfortunately, this area is not solely inhabited by those considered cute, and so a few hours into their trek, our heroes hear a loud growling, which quickly becomes a snarl as 3 Pangaros suddenly leap out from a copse of bushes, with the seeming leader of the group rushing at the humans, a fearsome roar on its lips. Acting on instinct, Ash tells Pikachu to help him out, and order the electric rodent is happy to obey, leaping from his trainer's shoulder and clashing Iron Tail against Bullet Punch in a steely stalemate that sees both combatants skidding backwards. Nonetheless, the wild Pangoro will not be denied, rushing in once more, this time with a Night Slash. Though being faster than the lumbering brute, Pikachu is quickly able to dodge out of the way as he circles around the fighting dark type and slams a quick attack into the small of its back. This earns the electric type an enraged bellow. Though being a feisty little mouse, Pikachu is undaunted by the daunting Pokemon, instead readying a Thunderbolt on Ash's command. That is until a surprise Sky Uppercut catches him off guard, sending the starter into the air, where he lets out a squeal of pain. Seeing a chance to end this, Pangoro then leaps after its prey, its fist recurled in preparation for its second Bullet Punch, though in a testament to his tenacity, Pikachu managed to catch this with an Iron Tail at the last second, with the force of this collision creating a shockwave that shakes the surrounding foliage. One such area to be disturbed is a pile of leaves a few feet off the path, with Serena spotting something odd beneath them, so that when Pikachu and Pangoro land, already preparing to clash once more, she cries out to Ash, urging him to stop the fight. Looking confused, the young Kantonian asks why, to which Serena answers that she thinks there's been a big misunderstanding, before pulling back the leaves to reveal a small den full of Pancham cubs. At once, everything makes sense, with Ash quickly changing tack as he tells Pikachu to come back, before addressing the 3 Pangoro and stating they were just scared that he and his friends were going to hurt the cubs, and so they were trying to drive them off, weren't they? At once, all hostility leaves the fighting dark types, with them nodding in agreement, causing Ash to rub the back of his head and sheepishly apologize, saying that he probably should have known better than to go wandering into their territory without asking. However, before he can even finish his apology, he finds himself swept up in a bone-crushing bear hug from the Pangoro he'd just been fighting, as it tearfully growls its own apology, evidently so relieved that nothing bad is going to happen to its friends. Laughing now, both at the strange turnabout, and because Pangoro's fur is tickling his nose, Ash tells it not to sweat it, since it seems like they both goofed up, while from the side Serena giggles they make a good pair, since they're both big ol' softies. Evidently, Pangoro thinks so too, since after spending the rest of the day playing with the Pangoro and Pancham, it accompanies Ash and Co back down the mountain and all the way to the outskirts of Santaloon City. Here the raven-haired boy prepares to say goodbye, though it seems Pangoro doesn't want to leave, letting out a low sad growl, almost like a mumble as it looks at its feet. Seeing that Ash isn't picking up on this, Serena decides to step in once again, nudging her companion gently as she suggests that perhaps Pangoro wants to join his team. Looking a little surprised, Ash asks if this is true, earning him an exasperated roar and much waving of paws as the short-tempered softie expresses that this is what it's been trying to tell him all along. Laughing a bit at this strong reaction, Ash replies they'll need to work on Pangro's communication skills and its temper, though he'd be happy to have the fighting dark type as one of his pals. He then extends a fist, and after Pangro bumps it joyfully with one of its own, he tosses a ball, making the daunting Pokemon his 6th team member. Naturally, this causes Gary to sulk more, as now not only does Ashy Boy get to travel with Serena, but he also has a Colossian Pokemon while he doesn't. Though reassuringly, the girl tells him that he can catch one too if he wants. Unfortunately for Gary, of the few Colossian Pokemon they do see for the remainder of their trip, all of them are either too weak or too timid for him to catch, meaning that when they arrive back in Lumio City a week later, it is with an empty-handed Oak bringing up the rear. However, not everything is bleak for Gary, as before heading to the airport, the trio decide to make good on their promise to visit Professor Sycamore, with the dark-haired man greeting them happily at his lab when they arrive, and telling them to come inside, since he has something for them. Curiously, Ash asks what it is, to which Sycamore explains that in the weeks since they parted ways, he's been thinking long and hard about their battle. It was the sort of match that reminded him why he became a professor, since it was clear throughout just how deep the bonds were between both trainers and their Pokemon. To that end, he'd like them to do him a favor and take these Keystones and Megastones, since he believes they will have what it takes to achieve Mega Evolution. Being unfamiliar with this concept, Ash asks what it is, to which Sycamore explains that when certain Pokemon who are extremely close to their trainers come into contact with something called Infinity Energy, created by these two stones, they're able to achieve a power beyond evolution. Even here in Kalos, where Mega Evolution is said to have originated, it is a rare and highly sought after ability, as well as a largely mysterious one, hence why he has made it his field of study. So by taking and harnessing the power of these stones, they truly would be helping him, as it would bring him one step closer to unraveling the secrets of Mega Evolution. This floors both Ash and Gary, with the boys hastily agreeing, as they are bestowed with Pidgeotite and Blastoisanite respectively. Though this is not the only surprise, as when Sycamore emerges with the boxes containing the stones, he has 3, with the third being offered to Serena. A little taken aback as she's never met this man before, the honey-haired girl asks if he's sure about this, since she knows how rare Megastones and Keystones are, though with a kind smile, Sycamore replies that he is certain, since he's heard a lot of very impressive things about her from his colleague Professor Oak, following her decision to start out in Kanto rather than here. Since he was not able to give Serena her starter Pokemon, he'd like her to have this instead, revealing the final stone to be none other than Gengarite, which he places in her hand, stating that even if she and Haunter are not ready to use it yet, he has every confidence they will someday. In that moment, Serena is at a loss for words at this gesture of faith in her, especially since he must know about her recent loss of faith in herself. Though not needing any thanks, the professor simply tells her to enjoy her journey to the fullest and deepen her bonds with her friends, both human and Pokemon alike, since that is what it means to be a Pokemon trainer. Though she is still speechless, Serena gives a nod of affirmation, wanting to put as much significance into the gesture as possible, which is not lost on Sycamore, and so as he watches the 3 young trainers depart for the airport, all marveling at their new prizes, he cannot help but smile, feeling content in the knowledge that the future of the Pokemon world is in the hands of young people such as these. And that's where we'll leave things. What adventures await our heroes as they now make their way back to Kanto? How will their friends have changed after so long apart? And can the 3 of them unlock the secrets of Mega Evolution? Find out as the journey continues.